Hello, welcome to tutorial number 2. In the last tutorial, we went through creating a procedurally generated terrain very easily and quickly from pre-existing assets that we pulled out of the landmass plugin and this lovely blueprint provided to us. We can obviously rewrite this one day and make it exactly the way we want it to be rather than how they have made it, because we will want to add different types of noise generation for different excuse me, for different types of biomes. But for now, the next step will be to change some of the material tiling so that it doesn't look so bunched up together, and I'm going to add a character into the world as well. These two parts of the tutorial are extremely quick and easy, so this tutorial will probably only go for about 4 minutes. I will probably do what I usually do though and rave on about a bunch of other things. I'm going to have to try and not do that in future and stick to some kind of script. Otherwise my tutorials will go for years and years and years. I've just adjusted this terrain a little, but when you sort of get close, it looks like it's tiled very, very badly. To fix that, we can either recreate a new variant of the surface by duplicating it, or we can fix it later on. We will make a new material with materials inside of it that are independent, that can be sort of tiled individually. But for now, I will just edit this Quixel Megascan asset, and anything, because this is an instance of the master material, you can edit any of the tilings, albedo, metallic, specular, etc. I'm going to put the specular down to about 0.2 so it's not quite so shiny sand, and I'm going to change the tiling to about 0.3 to sort of really bring up maybe 0.2 even. That will spread the sand out a little bit more over the sand, so when we get close, yeah, that's a little better. It's like sand with rocks in it. The next thing that we want to do, now that we've done that, is I'll go back into the content, make sure everything's saved. We want to add a character into the scene. The Unreal Engine comes with a lot of prefabricated example characters for 2D, 3D, first person, third person. So we are going to grab the third person one so that we can see the guy running around. You just click add in the content browser down here. Oops, I'll move my head over here a bit for a while. Click on add, and you want to add feature or content pack. It'll give you a list of all the prefabricated assets that have been prepared already for the engine. You just click on third person and go add to project. Now that the third person character is in the scene, you can close that window. But even though it's in the scene, it won't load up into here yet, and dragging it into the scene is not a solution for that. Some people might automatically think, hey, I've got to put the character in, but no, it's that's not the correct way. If I hit play, it won't spawn the character because it automatically defaults to a game mode that just has a camera actor, and you can just sort of wander around the scene. You don't clip through anything. You can fly around in the sky, and that's about all you can do. To change this, you just go into Edit and Project Settings, and you search for Game Mode, and default game mode, if you change that to third person game mode, and that is all. Hit save, close that, and now when you hit play, the character will spawn from the position that the camera is at onto the ground. He will spawn at the height of the camera in the direction that you're facing and land on the ground. That's not the optional scenario, because you want the character to spawn at a place that is usually fairly static. So if I hit escape to get out of the game, there are a lot of things that you can add down here, and a lot of things that you can add up here in the different actor areas. I want to go to the basic section and add a player start. When I drop the player start in, not sure why it's always saying bad size. I dropped the character in yesterday, moved him around a bit. Dropped the player start in, moved it around a bit, and bad size popped up, and then it disappeared, then it returned, then it popped up again. I have to look up one day exactly why that's occurring. But for now, I'm just going to put this guy directly into the 0 point of the terrain, so he's directly in the center of the 4 kilometer area. And I'll lift him up the terrain so he's not falling through. That looks like he's in a good spot. Now if I hit play, you will spawn exactly in the center of the terrain. I think that might be all for this tutorial. To make it slightly longer, if I might just play around with the sky lighting a bit to show you how easy it is and how good it looks with the new sky environment system that's included with Unreal Engine 5. If you click on the directional light and change the rotation to 0 there, rotation to 0 there, when you move the one in the middle, you can get sunrise, sunset. We don't have a secondary light that's rotational to do sort of moon and such at the moment, but I can add that at another stage and show you how easy that is to put in. But that actually, perhaps that might be the when I added these lights in the first tutorial, this atmospheric light might be the one for the sunlight, perhaps. Directional and sky. I don't know. I'll add it in and see if I get some nice sunlight once that's rotated around. So we're at what should be the middle of the night right now there, and I'll rotate this one to what should be pitch black. Are we getting any nighttime lighting? No, it's just the same kind of light. It's not really doing anything, is it? No, I'll get rid of those then. I will create the lovely light later on for that. Exponential height fog, we can play around with that, make the fog a bit deeper or narrower, stronger. As long as you make the scattering and the in-scattering color black. I'm not sure if that needs to be black as well. Not sure. No, I think that's just got to be white. As long as these in-scatters are black, the light, the directional light will affect the fog's color. So as the sun rises and sets, you will see the cloud scattering and the fog scattering be heavily affected by the rotation of this sun. I'll turn around and have a look at that one. I don't think it's working correctly. I've got it to look way better than this. That fog doesn't look like it's being coloured at all. It's remaining white. I will fix that for the next tutorial and show you how to get that working properly, because it's looking pretty boring there at the moment. Have a quick run around, and looks like either sunset or mid-afternoon, mid-morning. It's one thing I forgot about the directional light. It starts off with an intensity of 10. It's meant to be around about 3.25 to be realistic as per sort of real life. That might be what has stopped that from becoming. That hasn't really fixed anything at all. Oh well, I will solve that before the next one, and maybe I'll leave that for a tutorial further down the line. I may have the wrong settings in the sky atmosphere too. I think they should be okay. Atmosphere looks good. Whenever you change these Rayleigh scatterings or Mie scatterings, it's actually the density of the atmosphere for the way that the light passes through the atmosphere, so you can pull it all the way down and end up with something like the moon because it doesn't have an atmosphere. Or you can push it all the way up to somewhere like Mars that has a really dense atmosphere, and you can end up with sort of really Martian looking landscapes if you were making a map that needed to be on another planet. And whenever you do add a sky atmosphere, it does give you sort of a planetary based system. So if I leave this area, it will kind of eventually get me to sort of a point where I can see the atmosphere and the edges through it. I don't think it's set up correctly. I think when you go through this system to add the lights here, it gives you a very basic setup, and all of the settings that I like to use don't get enabled. So I will just default everything back to normal in the white fog and the sky atmosphere, and then I will end this tutorial. And the next one, I think, the next one is a really fun one. The next one will be creating procedural foliage generators, or procedural foliage spawners, I think they're called. We have to create foliage out of meshes Foliage is basically just Unreal Engine's 5 prefabricated blueprint that takes a bunch of variables like what angle it's allowed to spawn on, whether it's allowed to spawn sideways, or what kind of axes it can spawn on, and you just apply all of these little foliage types to the foliage spawner and hit regenerate, and it just places them into the world wherever we need them to be. It's really quite simple. It's only been, what, 30-40 minutes of tutorial, and we've already got procedural generation. We've got a very simple, sort of decent looking material on the ground. We've got lighting. We've got sort of day and night cycles. The night cycles don't really look great yet, but I will go through a tutorial later that really plugs all those into a blueprint that will allow you to sort of say daytime takes 1 hour, nighttime takes 45 minutes, and as you step through the game it will just pass the time. But that'll be a tutorial sort of way further down the line. I think this tutorial might have gone too long, so I will stop it now. Yeah, see you later.